My name's Don.
And I'm Peter.
And we are two plebs talking about... California.
This week in the DPRC.
Sure enough. And, as per kind of the norm around here, ridiculous things are happening.
Well, that's the point of the show.
So, just a few general California questions for you.
Okay.
I don't even know if you know the answers. Felons and guns.
Not allowed.
Okay. Do you know how to store a weapon in California legally?
It has to be within a California-approved safe. And if I remember correctly, it has to be emptied while it's stored?
Yeah, and the ammunition needs to be stored in a different California-approved safe.
Okay.
All right. Guns in parks?
No, parks are gun-free zones.
Oh, okay. On a unrelated to guns question, breaking and entering, is that a crime?
That is, in fact, a crime.
Okay. How about living in parks?
I believe that technically breaks loitering laws.
Yeah. Well, actually, we have a few, quite a few rules about doing this sort of thing. You just can't, right?
Okay.
Now, there are a lot of exemptions to this. You can sleep in a park in various more progressive areas of the state, and apparently that's fine.
Okay. And
so, if I were to say to you that, I think Tuesday, if I remember correctly, a soccer team was going to, which unto itself is already progressively socialistly stupid. Sorry, international community. Not sorry. But soccer's bad.
Okay.
Different show. But if I said to you that a soccer team was going to go play soccer at a park and went over to one of those little sheds where they keep the community equipment things and you can go file to be able to use it on a regular basis.
Right.
And when they went to open the door, a kind of crack-headed Mexican guy walked out and said, "Get the hell out of here, I live here." And they said, you can't live here.
Right.
This is no.
This
you
is
don't get to do that.
This is a storage room.
To which he said, "I'm gonna go get my strap." And yes, that is a quote. I'm not exaggerating.
Okay.
"If you don't go away." And then they went away because, well, this is California.
Right.
And called the cops, who came back, arrested the guy, and found out that he had cleared out the shed, been living there, had around 600 rounds of ammo, and what looks like a 1911 with him.
Okay.
Would that surprise you?
No.
And yet, somehow or another, gun control works. I don't know what else to say. Oh, I failed to mention. I've forgotten an important thing here. He was also a felon.
Not surprised.
Now, story is short on details because, of course it is.
Of course it is. Because those things don't happen around here.
Because this is impossible.
We're going to make it a blip because we're suffering for stuff to talk about that we want to immediately bury as far down the hole as possible.
Right. Well, it's a terrible thing that a girls' soccer team, because it was a girls' soccer team, could have been, and I'm not kidding, this is how they close out the article, could have had something happen.
Right.
And, oh my God, it's too horrible, I just can't even think about it. Seriously, that's how they close out this article.
Okay.
However, California, for anyone who doesn't know, has the strictest gun laws in the country. Repeatedly.
Really? I thought Chicago had his beat.
No.
Okay.
Even Chicago is only doing the things we're doing.
Okay.
So, how could this have happened, Peter? This is impossible.
Well, it's almost like criminals don't obey laws.
No. Oh,
I mean,
there was one other detail of note in here.
Yeah.
The police assume, and I'm not kidding, assume that he stole all of this.
Well, he can't legally buy it because we have all of those rules, regulations, and things that have to happen for the purchase of a firearm.
Yeah.
So he could not have legally purchased it, period, in any way, hands down, within the state of California.
Yeah.
So he had to acquire it illegally somehow through back alley deal or theft.
Yeah. But that first one implies that there is a black market for guns.
Oh, there is a black market for guns.
No. There can't be a black market for guns. Peter, we have mandatory, absolutely mandatory background checks for every transfer of a firearm here. Every single one.
All right. I mean, I can't acquaint people with my childhood. Let's just say I know from experience that that is not the case.
Well, I mean, look, that law got passed since you were a kid. And so, I mean, clearly, we know that because we have universal background checks, and we do, that this could not have happened.
This happens every day.
No. Peter, I am explicitly told on a regular basis that if only the whole country had the same gun laws as California...
You're explicitly lied to every day.
Are you calling this fake news, Peter?
No.
Oh.
Because this news happened.
Well, but...
This is the news. The news has happened.
It has to be fake news.
No, it's not fake news. This happened.
Well...
I am offering validity to the case that this happened.
Just because...
The news got it right.
Just because...
The politicians have been getting it wrong for years.
Oh. So... The Gabby Giffords Center is fake news, is what you're saying. As is the Brady Association. For anybody who doesn't know, those are the big gun control nut bars of the country.
No, I'm saying they're lying to you.
So, fake news.
As Tuesday was evident in another country where guns are not allowed whatsoever.
Well, look,
I would suggest that they have stricter gun laws than we do.
Well, maybe.
Because we're still allowed to have guns.
Well, we talked about this then. They're allowed to have some gun of some variety.
Not of the variety that was used.
Oh. But, Peter, this can't happen. I was explicitly told. I have a moonbeam, and he said, we're done with this.
Okay, they were either A, lying to you, B, horribly misinformed by somebody else and didn't bother fact-checking it, or C, absolute idiots.
Well, but...
And after seeing the one guy in his ghost gun briefing little thing that you can find on YouTube, I'm going to go with C.
Well, look, Kevin De Leon, the guy that you're talking about, he didn't replace Dianne Feinstein, so clearly it's not just that they're idiots. I mean, that can't be true. Besides, they know better.
No, they don't.
But Peter!
De Leon proved that one at the very least.
But Peter! That's why we passed these laws.
No. They were able to sell a lie to the greater public who also didn't know better.
Oh.
All these people who took the politician's word for it, they're like, because they're professional politicians, they wouldn't have just proposed this law without researching it first.
Well,
you're assuming they assumed a level of competence in their representatives, which is obviously not there.
Well, I mean, do you understand that this is California?
Yes.
And that our representatives
where
know
we are
everything?
led by the lowest common denominator. Yes.
No. Look, Gavin Newsom is a presider over the Poo Patrol.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's not fair. The Poo Patrol came after Gavin.
A lot of these people appear to have the public interest at heart, and they are trying to lead with their heart. I would like them to engage some brain cells on top of that.
Well, they did. They told our kind of crack-headed little Mexican guy that he can't have a gun because he's a felon and storing it incorrectly.
So he just went and stole it.
Well, no, I mean, that would never happen.
It obviously did happen.
No. Come on. We know better than this. We are California.
No, that's the problem is we do know better than this, and we need them to stop lying to us about it.
Well, I mean, maybe, but if California politicians weren't lying to us, I don't know if they would ever say anything.
You have a point there.
So, outside of crazy crackheads, California has gone beat California again because, you have a thing. Anything. And that thing isn't taxed. So we're going to tax it.
What do I have that they haven't taxed?
Text messages.
Text messages are a method of communication sent over a phone. I know my phone was taxed.
But California, as do many other states for that matter, tax your phone calls on a per capita rate. Whether you know it or not. This is part of why your phone bill changes every month.
Okay.
Like when you call your cell phone carrier and you go, hey, look, why were the taxes so much higher? And they go, talk to your legislator. Because no one is going to sit there and discuss tax policy with you and tell you, well, look, here's the deal. You made X number of phone calls this month and Y number of phone calls last month, and X is greater than Y. So, quite literally, this is part of...
You get taxed per phone call.
Yeah, it's some eminently small amount, but you do. And so, since phone calls are
so you get taxed for using a service which you're already being taxed for.
Yeah,
because I know you get taxed for paying for the services to begin with.
Yeah.
So they are double dipping on you.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. So, quite a while back, there was a lawsuit, of which I forget the name of it, it doesn't really matter, in which we said, look, email and search function and YouTube, for example, these are information services, and thus cannot be taxed under the common carrier communications thing.
Okay.
And so your emails are not taxed at a nickel apiece, which, by the way, was floated in the 90s, for anyone who doesn't remember. And I'm pretty sure this is how we got this ruling.
Or never heard about.
Well, yeah, that too. But anyway, text messages are not phone calls, but they're not internet services. So
Right.
Can we tax them?
Ooh.
To which California went, well, look,
Is it a way for us to make money? Of course we can do it.
well, no one talks on phones anymore. And this has been true since the early 2000s. The actual rate of phone calls has been flying through the floor, right?
So they're losing money.
Mm-hmm. And so, look, you're communicating with other people and it's using the same infrastructure as phone calls. So we can tax text messages individually, right?
All right. So they're going to try to recover money one way and just encourage an uptick in another method.
Well, look, let's all be honest with ourselves and say that no one stopped making phone calls because of this tax, right?
Right.
It was low enough that, and no one understood it, so it didn't matter.
Right, because, I didn't know we were taxed per call.
Yeah, no, basically nobody does.
Until just now.
Right. Again, basically nobody does because, California. I don't know, talk to your legislature. This is the answer that everyone everywhere has gotten through every phone company throughout all of time. And the correct answer is, well, stop talking to people.
Apparently.
And so we're going to do this to text messages. On the other hand, if you do this to text messages, I get the distinct impression texting will go down.
Yeah.
Because per call is, all right, we sit on the phone and have a 40-minute discussion about whatever we're talking about.
Right.
That could be comprised of roughly 200 texts.
Right.
More importantly, are they going to tax every, 140 characters for a standard SMS text message? Is that what it's going to be? So, like, if you type out a big, long book to try and avoid this, they're going to be like, nah, that was 5 texts, enough.
Right.
Are picture messages going to have higher tax rates? Are they going to tax it by data quantity? And by the way, no one knows. Not even California, who just went,
yeah, we're going to do that.
That's a thing we haven't taxed.
That's a way for us to take more of your money.
And so, there's a good chance that right around 2020, this will kick in.
Right. And right about 2020 is when people will start circumventing the law.
Well, sure. I mean, this is when once someone finds out, the first person that sends 60,000 text messages a month gets a $40,000 bill.
Right. Because there are some people who that is how they conduct business, is by sending messages.
Oh yeah, but previously you used to conduct business over the phone.
Right.
I mean, just as good. By the way.
Right.
Because we are California, not only have we decided that this is a good idea, but we've also decided we should apply it retroactively.
Oh, really?
So, whatever your last year's text messages were, time for you to get hit with that bill.
All at once.
Well, I think the state has learned quite well not to do that, right? When you hit people with a big number all at once, they get upset about things. But if what you do is go, dear Verizon, last year this user sent 200,000 text messages. So just average that out over 12 months and then apply each little bit to the bill all along the way.
Wow.
Then people get a little upset, but they don't get really upset.
Right.
So you better believe that's how that's going to get implemented.
Pretty much. Sorry, now that I know, I mean, I kind of want to bring attention to the fact that even your phone calls are taxed. Now, is that tax is that strictly for cell phones?
No.
That's for regular phones?
Yeah.
Because you're paying tax on just having a phone service.
Yep.
And then you get taxed for using a service you've already been taxed for.
Uh-huh.
That's asinine.
Welcome to California, friend. Well, every now and again I say, look, dear California, you're taxed on things you don't even know you're taxed on, right?
Right.
And a lot of times I get in the comments, well, like, seriously, everyone knows when they're taxed. I'm like, no, they don't.
No. I didn't know I was paying a tax every time I dial a digit.
And technically speaking, you are. Now, my understanding is it's an incredibly small number, fraction of a penny or something.
Still.
Which is why your bills only change by a couple of bucks every month, right?
But still.
Exactly.
I mean, what are they going to do now? Start having monitors at Starbucks and start taxing people for having conversations with each other?
Yeah. Why not? You have a method of communication. Let me tax it.
Because that's effectively what they're doing. Any means of communication you use, we're going to start taxing.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, we have emails and talking to each other.
Well, and I mean, Twitter and Facebook and everything else, right? I mean,
right.
The internet as a whole is tax-free-ish.
Right. There's plenty of ways to circumvent this.
Right.
And people will. And then when they figure out that people are circumventing it, they will start going after these circumventions.
You'd have a lot of work to do there, right? Because my understanding is there's a SCOTUS ruling between here and there. So that's constitutional amendment time.
Oh, you think so?
Well, I mean, that's how you get around SCOTUS at this point.
Gotcha.
On the other hand, that's just presuming they can't get more creative, which is to say, we're not going to tax individual things that you've done. We're going to tax by quantity of information that you've sent or received.
Right.
Which may or may not be applicable, right?
A data transfer tax.
Yeah. Well, we're helping support the infrastructure. You didn't build that.
What, the whole internet infrastructure?
Yeah.
Who built it?
Well, I mean, depends on who you listen to, but probably Al Gore. Yeah, exactly. And so, just assume that time's coming because, by the way, they have a projected amount of money this is going to bring in.
Of course.
$100 million a year for taxing text messages.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind that's there's roughly 40 million people in California. So that's $250 per person per year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that much, right? That's fine, right?
Right.
Wait till this brings in substantially more than that.
It's going to.
Which means you will be taxed substantially more than that.
And what's going to happen is the very young will be the ones to start the protesting on this one because their parents took their phones away.
And that's the end of our show for the day.
That's right. It's taco time.
However, before we go, we'd appreciate it if you shared us around.
You can find us on YouTube,
BitChute,
Facebook,
Twitter,
Patreon,
and Maker Support.
Thanks for stopping by.